Okay, so if you're like us, you try to stay plugged into what's happening in pop culture, especially when, a favorite show gets revisited.
Definitely. And today's topic really hit that nerve. NBC pulling the plug on Suits LA.
Yeah, after just one season. Which is kind of wild considering how the original Suits blew up again on Netflix years after it ended. The expectations for the LA spinoff were, well, pretty high.
Huge. You had Stephen Amell attached, the Suits name. It seemed like a sure thing.
Exactly. So our mission today is really to get under the hood and figure out why Suits LA just didn't connect. Was it the cast, the timing, uh, maybe the writing, or was the whole legal drama scene just too packed?
Lots to unpack there. Let's try and piece it together.
All right, let's dive in.
So you remember the initial announcement, right? Suits LA, there was genuine excitement.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with that Netflix resurgence still fresh. NBC must have thought they had a guaranteed hit riding that wave.
You'd think so. They took a proven formula, a popular genre.
Right. Shift the city, bring in a biggish name like Amell from Arrow. Seemed like smart thinking, and yet
Yeah.
canceled.
And yet here we are. So the big question, the one everyone's asking, is what went wrong? What was missing?
Yeah, let's approach it like a postmortem. What were the contributing factors?
Okay, well, one angle people are talking about is, was it the lead? The source material asks, were audiences just too invested in Mike and Harvey from the original?
Hmm.
Could it be that even someone like Stephen Amell couldn't quite capture that same specific magic? That maybe the audience wasn't looking for just a lead, but that specific dynamic?
That's a really interesting point.
Yeah.
Because the chemistry between Macht and Adams, that was the show for a lot of people.
It really was.
Maybe viewers went in expecting, or at least hoping for, something similar and just found
Huh.
something else. And what about the timing? That whole Suits nostalgia thing was huge for a minute, but did Suits LA launch maybe a bit too late? Did it feel less like an organic next step and more like, I don't know, a bit of a cash grab trying to catch the tail end of the buzz?
That's a definite possibility. Nostalgia's powerful, but it can also be kind of fleeting, can it?
Totally.
They missed that peak excitement and might have landed feeling a bit calculated, like, oh, Suits is popular again, quick, let's make another one.
And then there's the writing. We can't really ignore the critics on this one. Some reviews called it Suits Light.
Ooh, yeah, that term popped up, suggesting it just didn't have the sharpness, the killer dialogue, or the really compelling drama of the original.
Exactly. And that's a tough comparison to live up to. The original set a high bar.
It really did. Especially in a legal drama, the writing is just crucial. If the plots feel thin or the banter isn't sparking, viewers notice, especially when they have the original to compare it to.
Yeah, that shadow looms large. And linking into that, you've got the competition.
Yeah.
The legal drama space is, well, it's pretty full these days, isn't it?
Oh, completely
Yeah.
saturated. You've got shows like Goliath, The Lincoln Lawyer, established series with their own fan base.
Right. So Suits LA wasn't just fighting the ghost of the original. It was fighting for eyeballs against all these other shows.
Right.
Did it do enough to really stand out? What was its unique hook?
That's the key question, isn't it? To succeed in that kind of environment, you need something special. Memorable characters, storylines that grab you.
Mm-hmm.
If it didn't quite find its own voice or, match the quality people expected, it's tough. And it says a lot that Stephen Amell himself mentioned growing pains with the show.
Right. I saw that too. He admitted there were issues. So it wasn't
Yeah.
just viewers or critics.
Exactly. And obviously those pains were serious enough for NBC to say, nope, that's it.
Which leads us straight into the fan reaction.
Yeah.
Because people definitely had feelings about this cancellation.
Oh, yeah. Online, places like Twitter, Reddit, it was buzzing. A real mix of disappointment, but also some I told you so vibes.
Yeah, the source material mentioned some specific comments. Like one person saying NBC basically set Stephen Amell up to fail,
I saw that one.
and others wishing for Meghan Markle cameos.
Yeah.
That kind of points to what people felt was missing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the romance, the betrayals,
Yeah,
the stuff that made the original tick.
totally. It shows how much people loved the original characters and their relationships. Wanting Markle back, even for a second,
Yeah.
just highlights that craving for the familiar magic.
Yeah.
And that idea that Amell was set up suggests maybe the spinoff just didn't capture that core appeal. It didn't have the right ingredients, perhaps.
And another big one, apparently, was the total lack of connection to the original characters. No Harvey, no Louis, no Donna. Not even a mention.
Right. That seems like a huge missed opportunity. For fans of the original, part of the fun of a spinoff is seeing those connections, those little nods.
Exactly. A crossover, even a small one, could have gone a long way.
For sure. Leaving them out entirely might have just alienated some of the core audience they were hoping to attract. Felt like they weren't really trying to bridge that gap.
So it really puts the question to you,
Mm.
listening.
Mm.
Was canceling Suits LA premature, a missed opportunity? Or, based on what it delivered in that first season, was it kind of deserved?
It's a tough call. And looking forward, what does this mean for Stephen Amell and for the Suits franchise itself?
Yeah, Amell's had big hits, obviously Arrow, but other things like Heels maybe didn't quite hit the same heights. Does this cancellation say anything about like star power today?
It's an interesting question. The TV landscape is just different now. What
Yeah.
makes a star? What keeps them bankable? It's maybe more complex.
The source even mentioned speculation about him maybe going back to DC as Green Arrow.
Yeah, that rumor's floating around, which, fans would probably love. It shows there are always other avenues.
Definitely. And what about Suits as a brand? Is there life left in it?
Well, the source mentioned some purely speculative ideas, like maybe a Suits Tokyo or a Suits London. Oh, interesting.
So the core idea, the high-stakes legal world,
Mhm.
people still think that has potential. Maybe LA just wasn't the right fit, or the execution wasn't quite there this time.
It feels like a lesson for NBC, maybe. That just having the Suits name isn't enough.
Absolutely. Fans have expectations. They want substance. They want quality writing, maybe a touch of nostalgia, but also something new and exciting. You can't just rely on the label.
You really can't. It's a balancing act.
For sure. This whole Suits LA situation is kind of a case study in spin-offs and reboots in the modern TV world.
So, just to wrap things up, we've kind of walked through the possible reasons for Suits LA's cancellation. The casting compared to the original Mike Harvey magic, the maybe slightly off timing, the Suits light writing critiques, that very crowded legal drama market.
And that lack of connection, the failure to really bridge the gap with the original show's characters that fans loved so much.
Right. And like the source material asked, we're putting it to you. Did you watch it? Do you think it should have gotten a second shot?
Yeah, we're curious about your take.
And maybe just one final thing to chew on. With fan bases being so loyal but also having such specific ideas about what they want, what does it really take to make a spin-off or a revival work today? It's clearly got to be more than just a familiar name on the tin.